Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic today. We're discussing today the American elections, presidential elections 2020, and of course the whole world and Americans are awaiting for this day, the 3rd of November, and the elections to be held and to take place between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. To shed more light on this, we had the pleasure to host today Dr. Hassan Wagih, the professor of linguistics and political science. Welcome, Dr. Wagih.
Welcome.
Well, Dr. Wagih, before we start our interview, we're going to watch a report, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to watch now a report on the American presidential elections 2020.
Tuesday, November 3rd of this year. Donald Trump has already floated delaying it in a tweet which suggested the rules change, making it easier for voters to use postal ballots in many states, could lead to a rigged election. A record number of people are expected to vote before November 3rd by opting for postal votes. Election experts suggest this could mean the result may not be declared on election night, but may take several days or even weeks to emerge. It will be the 59th quadrennial presidential election. Voters will select presidential electors who in turn will vote on December 14th, 2020 to either elect a new president and vice president or re-elect the incumbent Donald Trump and Mike Pence respectively. Americans vote for people called electors in their state who are supporting the candidate they want to become president. This process is called the Electoral College. All 50 U.S. states and Washington, D.C. have set a number of electors in the Electoral College roughly proportionate to the size of each state. Each state gets at least 3 electoral votes because the amount is equal to its total number of senators and representatives in the U.S. Congress. Washington, D.C. also gets 3 Electoral College votes, meaning a total of 538 electors form the Electoral College. However, the Electoral College system does usually reflect the popular vote. Presidents have won the electoral vote while losing the popular vote just 5 times in U.S. history. The presidential election vote is a simple choice between candidates from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. The 2 main political parties hold primaries and caucuses across the country during the election year to select who they want to represent them on the ballot. A series of presidential primary elections and caucuses were held from February to August of 2020. This nominating process is an indirect election, where voters cast ballots selecting a slate of delegates on a political party's nominating convention, who then in turn elect their party's nominees for president and vice president. To win the presidency, Trump or Biden must get more than 50% of the Electoral College vote. There are 538 possible electoral votes, which means that 270 are required to win. The winner of the 2020 presidential elections is scheduled to be inaugurated on January 20th of 2021. Trump or Biden will be the oldest candidate to be elected president. This is the first presidential election in which both major candidates are over 70.
Welcome back. Well, that was a report on the presidential elections, the American presidential elections 2020. And to shed more light on this, we start our interview with Dr. Hassan Wagih, the professor of linguistics and professor of political science. Dr. Wagih, so why is the presidential American elections taking the attraction or the eyes of the whole world, not only the Americans?
Actually, it's almost like every time it's a big power. America is a big power. So everyone is keen to know how he's going to be impacted by the policies of the new president or the existing one if he is renewed. This is why, but why this time the importance of the elections are far more important than other and previous ones. For the last 100 years, no one election could be compared to this. when it comes to the number of voters, number of interests. And it has been named several names. One of them, COVID elections, or Corona.
Yes.
You know, Trump was saying, "Oh, don't tell me about COVID elections."
Yes.
Okay. Yes, it is very important because the American voter is really keen to choose the proper person according to his own view.
Yeah.
Because America and the world, and the entire world, is facing the challenge of this coronavirus. The number of victims are staggering everywhere in the world, especially in the United States. One of the files, the most important files in the debate between the two presidential candidates were on Corona.
Yes.
What did you do? What you should have done, etc. And you can find excuses and you can find strong languages like never happened before, as we have already, everyone
Yes.
have already witnessed that. So, for an instance, and the most important thing is that's motivating the American voters to go for these elections is the concept of fear with capital F. Americans are afraid. There is a sense of fear, and this fear was cultivated by the two presidential candidates, everyone in his own way. Like Biden is saying, okay, he's going to open up the economy more and more, and he's convinced with that, and we will, this will inflict on us many casualties and many victims, more victims. So this creates fear. And on the other side, Trump retaliate by saying that man is going to lock you down in houses and prevent you from going to work, and he's going to close the economy, and he is going to make your life much more worse.
Yes.
So the concept of fear is there, not only in this file, but in so many other files too.
Yes. So, Dr. Wagih, let's look or have a close look on both the nominees, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Joe Biden, a man with an experience in politics since the year 1970 and a vice president for President Barack Obama. And on the other hand, Donald Trump, seen by most of the analysts or political analysts as a president who, to a limit or to an extent, boosted the economy. And we add over this also the way he dealt with the COVID-19. So,
Yeah, actually, you remember when there was a debate between Clinton and George Bush, the statement made by Clinton and made him won the elections was tough language, but he said, the economy, you stupid. So when it comes to the American society and the American citizen, economy is a very decisive element in choosing the president. So when it came to COVID-19 again, I mean, closing up or opening up has an impact. And I think this is one of the criteria that make American citizens go for one person to the other.
Yes.
And they are near to each other, by the way. There is divided society,
yes.
and you couldn't predict who's going to win for 100%.
Yes.
For the last minute, you will be having hopes if you are hoping that one candidate will win and the other would lose.
Yes. Dr. Wagih, I need an explanation. Now we are hearing in the media and the newspapers that a certain candidate have already won a certain state. However, the elections are going to start tomorrow, the 3rd of November.
Actually, the American system of elections is very unique and very different from any other system. We can call this election process as indirect election process, because the voters may vote for Trump or may vote for Biden, but there is something called Electoral College. The Electoral College simply is a very, the whole system of the elections is complicated, but let me simplify it. You know, each state has a certain number, of course. If you have, for instance, California,
Yes.
it has more than 35 million. Okay, so they have, for instance, 55 electors in the Electoral College.
Yes.
Those 55 are the most important thing. How much out of them you will get as a president is very decisive. You may have, for instance, if you have California, for instance, 35 million, uh, the majority of them voted for Trump or voted for Biden. But the Electoral College go for the other way, for the other guy. Who are the electors? The electors are people of wisdom, people of objectivity, people who have insight and vision. They are chosen by the same people in the same state.
Yes.
So they would leave the whole floor for them open to decide. When you have the direct voter give their vote to someone, this gives the electors in the Electoral College an image what's happening in his state.
Yeah.
But again, they are the decisive elements, and you can find in the history of the United States that some people got much more direct votes from the citizens, but they lost the elections because there are 535 in the Electoral College.
Yes.
There are 535. So each the president who would win should got 270 or more than 270
Yes.
to win the election.
So how do you see the presidential elections working till now? Your evaluation?
Actually, I made a statement in my page on the Facebook about Kramer versus Kramer. Kramer versus Kramer was a movie, and when I say Kramer versus Kramer, I'm talking from a perspective of an Egyptian who would look at the whole situation. I'm not an American citizen, so I would think that whoever would win, let us try to deal with him according to our consistency, according to our cards, according to our power. So if Kramer number one won, it's okay. If Kramer number two won, it's okay for us, because let us rely on our own cards and our own way of managing
Yes.
the challenges and the conflicts we are facing.
Yes. Dr. Wagih, why is the American elections important, always important for Egypt, for the political track?
As I've said, it is not only important for Egypt. It's important for Egypt and for the entire Middle East and for the entire world. And actually, it is interesting to scrutinize and to have a focus on the democratic processes. From an Egyptian perspective, we care about having democracy in our country. We'd like to learn from the United States and other places to see how their experience would go.
Yeah.
Now, for Egypt and for the entire world, actually, the whole world is witnessing a challenge that is facing democracy in the United States. We are watching out what will happen, because there could be a deep crisis in the American system, because some people have some voices now that there may be some kind of conflicts, armed conflicts, militia conflicts, things that were never heard before. So we don't know what will happen. I hope everything would go peacefully. But this is one of the things that American people are afraid of also, the concept of fear. Another dimension of the concept of fear is that one like Trump is saying that if they are late to announce elections, I won. And if I lose, this means that they forged the elections. Yes. So you can find attitude and stances that is really conflicting, rather than getting into the system that really was admired by everyone in the world.
Yes. So also, what is the influence of the U.S. elections on the Middle East?
Actually, there are two views. One of them saying that Trump, we would like to vote for Trump if we are having votes. People in the Middle East like Trump, politicians in particular. I'm not talking about the public level. The public level has a reservation on the American performance, politically speaking, for a long period of time. But when it comes to certain political circles in the Middle East, they care for Trump to win. What they are afraid of, they are afraid that Biden would follow the steps of Obama when it comes to creating chaos, supporting brotherhood, supporting political Islam, try to intervene, try to destroy countries, as we have seen. Countries were destroyed by the policy of Obama. So people are afraid that Biden would follow these steps. But I think, from my own point of view, that Biden must have learned from what happened, and I don't think he's going to follow exactly the steps of Obama. Maybe, of course, there is policy changes. It's very possible, of course. But I don't think that he will follow the same steps. But again, when we have Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the rest of the Arab world who would be very keen to keep their states intact and to play their cards, this is the most important thing, rather than relying who is doing what and who is doing
Dr.
who is not doing what.
Wagih, how do you see or think the diplomatic relations would change a little bit if Joe Biden wins?
Yes, as I've said, it could be a change, and it could be no change.
I mean, in the region, of course.
Of course, when it comes to the region, as I've told you, if he is to follow the steps of Obama, yes, we are facing another Obama administration.
Yes.
If Trump wins, of course, this is, according to certain political circles, this would be in the interest of many things, because Trump attacked the brotherhood, attacked the policy of Obama. He is different from them.
Yes.
But he has his own problems too. Like when he wants to create a peaceful solution to Palestine his own way. And nobody knows what is the end result of that. And the people are skeptical, including many political circles in the Arab world.
Yes. So, from your point of view, would it be better for the American citizens? Do you think that it's more good for the American citizen that Trump wins?
It is very divided. It is very divided society. And you have, yes, many people are for Trump, but there are other people who would reiterate what Biden is saying, that president created division and discord like no other previous president. So some people consider this is the nightmare of Trump. They don't want this nightmare to reoccur again and to continue.
Yes.
So you have very divided society and very interesting elections, and the whole world is watching who will win to the very last minute.
Yes. So, Dr. Wagih, what's your expectations?
My
for
personal
tomorrow?
expectation?
Yes.
Actually, let me say I have scenarios. Okay, scenario number one is that the whole process, from my own point of view, I am keen, as someone who really lived in the United States, and actually I was in Georgetown University, and I have been witnessing all these elections and all these debates, and I love them. I love that very much. So for me, I would like to see no one is winning, but the system is intact and improving, because it forms a model for political scientists, for people who care about democracy, for people who care about the check and balance that is very needed in any respectable country. So I'd like very much to see that when Biden wins or Trump wins, I'd like to see what I have seen before, is that someone is hang up the phone and say congratulations for you, and consider that he lost the elections. If I can see this system, that would be gratifying to me from my own point of view.
I thank you very much for your time and for your valuable information, Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Linguistics and Professor of Political Science. Thank you very much, sir.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, Breakfast Show. I'm Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.